Hi everyone, this is Minnow. My son named her, and I literally just broke the baby carrier back out because she just wants to sleep all day. So like, what better place than to be right here? And it's really making me miss having a newborn again in the house. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday. Today we're making stuffed peppers, and I'm gonna do a story time about how we just got another kitten. So we already have our other cat, Bean, which you guys have seen her before, and Bean started having some behavior problems after I had my son. She would start trying to like bite my ankles at nighttime. And I talked to the vet, and we've tried a bunch of other things that didn't work. So she said that maybe if we got another cat, it would give her like someone to play with and might help her with some of that attention that she was losing. And actually it's worked out great. The first couple days she was so mad. She stayed upstairs the whole time and was growling and hissing, wouldn't even come down. Was like so mad that we got another cat, was acting all scared. She would jump out of our arms if we even tried to pick her up and bring her towards the stairs to come down. But then finally she started to be around the other cat, and then she would still hiss and kind of not be that happy, but she finally has just started, like they will play and run up and down the stairs and like wrestle and get tangled up in a ball, and they'll both be meowing so loud. And so I really think that it's good for her. She hasn't tried to bite me once since we've gotten the other cat, except like those first few days when she was kind of mad. So I think that it really helps her with having someone to play with at nighttime, especially because like my husband and I would just be so tired after, you know, like having a toddler, running around with him all day, that at the end of the night, like we would play with her and stuff, but she would want to play for like an hour or 2 hours, and it's just kind of, you know, hard to do that. And so I think this will be good. Obviously it's going to be harder to travel, or next time we have to move we'll have 2 cats, but I guess it's helping her out. We had another cat when we lived in Texas. Her name was Juju. It was actually Oju, which I know that's like probably the weirdest cat name ever. But she unfortunately passed away, and the vet thinks it was from a heart attack because she had had a murmur in the past. So that could have been why. She was only like 3 years old, but you know, we had gotten her from a shelter as well. So, you know, when you get a cat from the shelter, you don't really know what problems they might have had. So that was like really sad for us because I got her when I was living in Florida, and the cat and I lived alone even before I was with my husband. So we had a really like special bond, and then she moved with us from Florida to Texas, and then we had gone and taken a trip, and then when we got back, we were gone for 2 weeks, and then when we got back, it was only maybe a week or 2 later that she passed away. And that was also when I was like 8 weeks pregnant with my son. So it was kind of sad because, you know, I wanted her to obviously meet him and for them to play together, and you don't really expect that when your cat's only 3 years old. I mean, like when my dog passed away, she was, I think, 12 or 13, something around there. So, you know, it's still sad, but you kind of see it coming. But when you have a pet that's only a few years old, it's really like a shock. And what had happened was she was totally fine that night. And then in the morning, my husband said bye to her and everything, and she was just acting like her normal self. And then I got up a couple hours later and I saw her, and we had a pile of baby stuff on the floor, like diapers and everything that we got from some of the registry boxes. And I thought like it was so weird that she was just laying there, and I pulled out my phone and I took a picture and I sent it to my mom, and I was like, oh look, this is so weird, like I don't know why she's just sitting there like this. And so then she was still sitting there not moving, and when I went over I noticed she still wasn't moving, and then that's when I saw like her mouth was wide open, and I completely like froze like a deer in headlights, and I didn't know what to do. And I FaceTimed my mom, and she was telling me to like do CPR, and I was like, I'm scared the cat's gonna wake up and bite me in the face. And my mom's like, well, if she wakes up, then you know she won't be dead. And I was so like freaked out after. I texted my husband, but he was in a work meeting, so he couldn't come home for a couple hours. So I was like sitting with the cat, and then eventually like I had put her in the bathroom, in the bathtub with a blanket, just laid her there. Like I don't know, like her body was starting to smell a little bit too. And then like the saddest moment, like my husband came home and he was crying like in tears, and he's not even a cat person. Like he had never, I think the light just died, so I hope the lighting's still okay. He had never had a cat before, like in his whole life, and he was actually really attached to her. And then another really sad part was, obviously we didn't know that when the cat passes away, you know, the body gets stiff, and she had her arms and legs both straight out, and we were gonna like put her body in the cat carrier to bring her, but obviously like when we tried to do that, it wasn't working. So we had just put her in a blanket and laid her in the back seat, because I brought her to the vet to get cremated, and I was like hysterical on the phone talking to the vet like, I'm supposed to have an appointment for my cat next week, but you know she just passed away, so do you guys do cremations? And they're like, oh yeah, we do. And so we went to bring her before they closed, and we walked into the vet, and we're just holding her in a blanket, standing there waiting while some other lady was at the counter, like, I don't know, complaining about something about her dog. And so the receptionist like pushed her to the side so we could come up. So that was a little bit traumatizing for us, and I said that we weren't going to get another cat right away, because I was like, that's replacing her and it's not fair. She's going to feel like, you know, as if she can feel anything, but she's going to feel like we didn't love her. But a few days later, it just felt so empty. I mean, I know like cats aren't the same as dogs, so when you get home, the cats don't just, you know, run and jump all over you with tails wagging, but she still would come greet us, and we were just used to having something there to say bye to and to greet when we got home. And we had this great big cat tree, and I had all her toys set up on there. We had like a candle lit for her, and we finally decided to go to the shelter just to look, and there was a lot of kittens there, and we decided to look for one that was more energetic and, you know, reaching out, because our other cat was a little more shy and calm. And this one kitten kept reaching out for my husband, and so that's the one we ended up getting, which was Bean. And when she came home, she slept in our bed with us that whole first night. Like, it was so cute. She was still like just such a little kitten. And then Bean moved with us when we came back to Florida. So we've had Bean now for, I don't even know, like 2-3 years. And then now we have the new cat, and her name is Minnow. My son named her Minnow. And I hope they're gonna get along. Minnow is a little bit younger than what Bean was when we got her. So I'm just cutting up the onions and peppers. I know like we're making stuffed peppers, but I still like to put peppers and onions in with the beef when I cook it. Which I know like if I post any other cooking videos, I basically cook the beef the same way, no matter if I'm making like, I mean when I make like spaghetti sauce, I'll leave it a little bit more plain, you know, because obviously like you have the tomato sauce, you don't need like so much other flavors in there. But when I make the stuffed peppers and the shepherd's pie, like our version of it, I basically use the same thing. I don't put too much onion because my husband doesn't love onion that much, so I might just not use that piece and just do this one. Okay, so now I'm going to spray these, add some seasoning, and then put them in the oven. I know most of the time people use the whole pepper to do the stuffed peppers and then put everything in top, and I've seen some people even put like the top of the pepper back on. I just like to do them in half. It's a little bit easier to eat that way, and then you're not trying to like, you know, cut through the whole thing and then everything falls out. I usually like to do like rice, so I'll do rice inside, then add a little bit of meat, and then I'll do the cheese, and then I'll put them back in the oven at the end on broil just for the cheese to melt. For my son, probably he's just gonna eat rice and then the beef like separate. I don't think he would really eat the peppers that much. Every time I've tried to give him like pepper just plain, he doesn't really like it. He will eat it in like eggs or like in the beef cooked, but not really just by itself. So these will probably take, I would say like 20 minutes, maybe longer, but I just check them and see when they kind of look like they're done. So I'm gonna put these in now. Okay, so now that the peppers are in the oven, I'm gonna start cooking the beef with the onions, peppers, the tomato sauce, you know, the same seasonings I always use. Cook that up, and then I will start making the rice. Okay, so I started the onions and peppers. They're cooking over there. Sorry if the exhaust fan messes up the audio. We just got a new rice cooker. I had my old one for like 5 years since college, and the inside was non-stick and there's a bunch of scratches on everything, and we just tried to switch everything that was toxic to non-toxic. So this one actually has a stainless steel bowl in the inside, so I like this one a lot. Obviously, like sometimes certain things stick a little bit if you try to cook other things besides rice in there, but I just put the rice in there with water. I just have it in like this big bag because I'm just paranoid about anything getting in there. So we're almost finished with this 20-pound bag of rice, jasmine rice. And then I just put it in here. Sorry, that noise is so bad. And then I wash it a little bit, fill the water, put salt, a little bit of olive oil, and then I'll put a bay leaf. And then this usually takes about like 20 minutes, and then it just switches over to warm when it's done. So I think it's so much easier. I know some people prefer doing it on the stove, but I just like this, that I don't have to think about it or worry, and then you can focus on cooking the other stuff. Alright, I just pulled the peppers out, and then I'm not sure how well you can see. This is how they look. They got like a tiny bit crispy on the outside, but now they're at least nice and soft. So the rice is cooking, the meat is cooking. I'm just waiting for those and then we can assemble. All right, so the rice is done, the meat is done. Now we can assemble. I'm just gonna use a spoon because the rice scooper is a little bit too big. So these are not gonna be like super full because they don't fit that much. So sometimes we also just eat some more rice or beef like on the side if it's not enough. Especially more like my husband. I'm not like the biggest carnivore in the world. I mean, I eat meat, but I'm just fine if there's like a little rice, a little meat, and then just the vegetables. Whereas like he likes a little bit more meat for his. Sometimes I overestimate and I put a little bit too much rice, then it's hard to fit the meat in. I do the same thing whenever I'm making anything in a tortilla. I put way too much and then I don't even know how to close it. I don't know how those people that work at Chipotle like close those huge burritos people get with like so many things inside. I could not work there ever. But I'm glad that it's only, well, I was gonna say it's only 3. It's almost 4, but I just like when I can get dinner done early and then cleaned up early, because when it's late, it just like drags into the whole bedtime. And then after my son goes to bed, my husband and I like to watch our show together. So obviously that usually has to wait till everything's done. So if we can get everything done early, then we have more time to relax. See, some of it's kind of falling off. I know like some of the seasoning on the side got a little burnt, but it's fine. I mean, I could have like used a new pan and moved everything, but I'm not really trying to wash so many dishes. I used to use like the parchment paper. We also used to have non-stick pans, but we just got stainless steel ones. And then the parchment paper doesn't work if, well, it works because I've used it. If you do the oven over 425, it starts to burn a little bit. Plus, the parchment paper also has like the non-stick coating, so I'm trying not to use that. I mean, I know I'm wearing like plastic gloves, so that's not the best, but trying to get away from as many non-stick and plastics as possible. It's kind of like a slow change. I mean, I know even like the shredded cheese I could shred myself because it has, you know, the stuff for anti-caking in there, the cellulose powder, which I sometimes do, but it's hard to be like all the way into homemade everything and nothing toxic or bad. So I'm gonna do like half with the mozzarella. Usually I would just use whatever cheese I have. My husband likes mozzarella the best. I usually like pepper jack, Colby jack, cheddar, sharp cheddar. I'm not like the biggest mozzarella fan. I mean, obviously like I'll eat pizza and that has mozzarella on it, but I definitely would prefer like something else. So I did 4 with that. And then this is the other one I like. It's the 4-state cheddar. And they're kind of, both of these are like the thicker shreds, which I like. So these probably, I'm gonna broil them not very long. Like if I do high broil, maybe a minute or 2, and it'll be ready to come out. And then usually I just eat them, usually a little rice on the side. Sometimes I squeeze a little bit of lime And then also the green Tabasco sauce. I like that one with this. And then even sometimes I'll put a little bit of sour cream as well. My husband does not like sour cream, but I do. And then obviously my son is dairy free, so he's gonna have just the beef and the rice. So I'm gonna put these in the oven, and then I will show you guys at the end when it's all plated up.